Welcome back to the Holosky Podcast. We are your hosts. I'm Steven.
And I'm Kyle.
And thanks for hanging out with us today.
Yeah.
It's Monday again. Well, not now, but it will be when you listen to this.
You really need to quit reminding people that it's Monday.
Yeah, that's true.
Monday is legitimately one of the most depressing days of the week.
Along with Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday.
Yes. Yeah. All right. Well,
So,
now that we've established that.
now that we got that out of the way, thanks for hanging out with us, Holocult. That's going to be a thing now. I'm just going to start calling you all the Holocult because
That's cool.
it's got a nice ring to it.
It does. It really does.
And since I was a young kid, I always wanted to be the leader of a cult, so just kind of making it happen.
Right.
We're just going to roll with it. We were supposed
I've always wanted to be a member of a cult.
Well, then it works out. It's we're both fulfilling our dreams. We're supposed to be recording, like, hammering down, but instead we've been designing tag team wrestling belts.
Yeah.
That we're going to get made because, you know what? This is our simulation and timeline. We're going to make it
That's
our
true.
best.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just a byproduct of us living our best life.
Yeah. And
you can't be mad at that.
when we get the belts made and we start taking them to conventions and podcast shit, we are legally bound by contract in the Bible that we have to defend those belts to any challengers.
I mean, it's going to be bad for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Like, did you not see that video I sent you of the two bros, like the monster bros that I sent you that time?
Yeah.
And they were like, I wouldn't fuck with us.
I will do a moonsault.
Good.
And I'm a big guy. You don't want to be on the receiving end of that. I'll definitely throw my back out.
And I'm just going to stand there and go, what? Stone Cold reference.
So, I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
get ready for that.
It's happening.
But we just thought we'd share that exciting news with you because
how many people do you think at this point have just turned the show off?
Probably a lot. We'll probably get an email being like, you guys talk too much.
You didn't do your research on wrestling. It was all wrong.
Yeah, I mean, if they don't like it, I hope they do shut the show off.
Ooh. Anyways, on to brighter notes.
This is not the Holosky Airport. You don't have to announce your departure. Anyway, getting through. Kyle's got an episode put together here.
Oh man, is it a doozy? I wasn't super excited. I mean, I was, but not as excited as I stumbled on to the last story that I have on this show. And then I got really fucking excited.
So it seems like, per everything with this show, there's a lot of, I hate using the term synchronicities because everybody uses
Just make up a new one.
Synchronicity. So Kyle was doing his research on these demonic encounters, and then at the same time, I didn't know he was doing it. I started doing research on an exorcism case, which kind of goes hand in hand.
Right.
And my Amazon Prime starts popping up all these exorcism documentaries, and my YouTube is just all these accounts of exorcisms and shit, and it's just like...
Well, and then
the devil is everywhere.
Yeah, and then the lady made the comment that she agreed with the comment from Tony that we were... Satanists.
Because we do the metal sign, and that's super secret Satanist hand signals to other Satanists to let them know that we're secret Satanists.
So
I'm doing it right now.
So now we
secret.
just got kicked out of every secret club because we just told them that we were in a secret club.
Damn it. But anywho, check us out at all social medias where you can see our secret Satanist hand signals. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, Discord, and Reddit. And come and hang out with us. And then you can do secret Satanist hand signals back.
Oh, and on top of that, since we're going down this utterly absurd rabbit hole, I have a new... I think me and Steve we usually subtly do this amongst ourselves, but since we have a community now, I think we should all partake in this. Me and Steve are collectively bringing back grade school comebacks.
Yeah.
And name calling.
Yep. People are overthinking it. They're making it too vulgar. You're
Yeah.
making it too personal.
Vulgar.
Just
Ironic word.
We're not. We're not that show.
No.
Just start calling people nerds.
Or dork.
Losers. Like nothing hits. Like you could call me the most vile name in the book, and it will not sting the way someone walks up to me and just says, "You nerd." Fucking nerd.
It's so funny. It never gets old. It never gets old.
It just hits.
It never gets old. It is so funny. We were dying laughing the other day. Just calling each other nerds and dorks.
It is. It's dweeb.
Oh, dude, it's so funny.
So start doing that.
It brings joy.
First member of the Holo Cult. First action is bring back nerds.
Oh, it's so good.
But if you have, wow, man, my brain is way off. If you have a paranormal encounter that you'd like to share with the show, Kyle has a bunch of information. I'm going to help him out with this. If you have an encounter that you think is long enough to turn into an interview, shoot us an email at holoskyinterviews@gmail.com. Give us a little rundown of what you're experiencing. Kind of just give us some bullet notes we can look through, and then we will get back to you once we get a good schedule set up, and we will set up an interview that we will be posting to our Patreon.
Yeah, that's something that I want. I've been because I've had a couple people on Instagram reach out about the interview section, and I just keep reiterating that section of it because I'm like, hey, that sounds like an awesome story. I just want to let you know.
It's going on the Patreon.
These are going on Patreon. We're creating 2 separate shows here. So if that does sway you, I completely understand. I get it. You know, I completely understand.
Word.
It's just that this is the path that we're going down for now. This is where we're at. So if it does sway you, I understand. You know, it is what it is.
Yeah. If it does sway you, you can send it just to our regular email, which Kyle has all the details for. Perfect lead-in. Perfect lead-in.
Right. Which is going to be holoskypodcast@gmail.com, the email that you all know and love. You can also call the holophone, which unfortunately is probably going to be put on Patreon as well, but that's going to be 1-618-556-0837. Leave us a voicemail, a text message, a picture, a video, whatever you got. Keep it weird. Yeah, and I hope to hear from you. Yeah.
If you'd like to support the show, again, we have Patreon. You can go over there and check that out. See if there's any tiers you're interested in. Sign up. Get a bunch of free content. Well, not free content because you're signing up for the Patreon, but a bunch of extra content. All kinds of stuff over there. I think we got over 35 episodes over there. We got a Venmo if you'd like to throw some money in the monster account. That'd be dope. Best thing you could do is word of mouth us, share the show, post it around, throw our names out, put some stickers up, whatever you got going on, just get our name out there. You can also go to wherever you listen to podcasts, leave us a 5-star rating and review. It helps us kind of what's Randy Savage say? Cream rises at the top. Helps get our cream to the top.
I thought he was into Slim Jims.
Well, and cocaine. But anyway, yeah, just share our show. Give us a 5-star rating and review, and we will, if I find it, we will definitely shout you out. This one,
I just picture him snorting a line off a Slim Jim.
Solid.
That's so good.
2 of my favorite things.
If you haven't noticed, I like to laugh. Comedy is a big part of me and Steve's life.
We are nerds.
I told Steve just a minute ago, this is the jump, like, this is to take accountability for my nerd shit. For like the past month and a half, I shit you not, I have binged over 60 hours of a D&D podcast. Nerd shit.
It is a big part of his life right now.
It is, and it makes me laugh. That's why I enjoy it so much. It is so funny.
That's all that matters.
It's called Dungeon and Daddies if anybody wants to give her a go.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
Peep it with your ears.
It's hilarious.
You can always submit a 5-star through our website, Holosky. Is it holoskypodcast.com?
I don't know.
Holosky.com? I don't know.
Figure
But anyway,
Google it.
This one is from
Google us.
there. It's from our friend Ted. It says 5 stars. I got hooked on your podcast roughly about a year ago thanks to Tony Merkel's podcast, The Confessionals. Love the frequency of your podcast and the variety of topics, especially the length and the caliber. Mostly the theme and the unwavering discipline you both invest in your investigative skills and beliefs. It appeals to me and sets your show apart from the saturated world of podcasting. And without saying, your podcast is set aside from the saturated world of podcasts that are more du jour style and individually stock focused. You truly have a wonderful podcast/show, and your dedication and hard work shines through. Love you guys. You both have a listener that will be forever loyal. Yours truly, Ted, Belleville, Ontario, Canada, the North American Sasquatch Journals.
Well, dang, man.
Ted, we needed to hear that today.
You just hit me right in the feels.
Yeah, because apparently other people don't think we do good research.
I was going to say, this is a like it was a night and day.
But we're not going to be petty and bring it up again.
No.
This is about the positivity.
Yeah, positivity.
So
That's right.
Thank you, Ted. And hit us back on this North American Sasquatch Journals, because if you got some Sasquatch info and experience, I mean, I know two guys that want to talk to you, Ted.
Oh yeah, for sure. So that's pretty much an open invitation, my guy.
Yeah.
Open invitation.
So,
and that goes for any content creators that are out there.
Yeah, or
wanna,
anybody that's seen a Bigfoot.
You want to hang out and talk weird shit? Let's go. Let's get it.
Let's go. Our experience of the day is a response from one we had a couple shows ago from our friend Gemma Jane. She's on the Discord. She answered some of the questions we threw out, so I'm going to read that. It says, "Hi guys, Gemma here again. Thanks for reading my dream submission. I thought I'd follow up on the questions that you ask. How do I interpret the dreams? First off, I've never read a dream interpretation book, so my symbology may be specific only to me. All the meanings of the dreams are delivered with the dream. I write each dream down after I wake up, and usually within just a few minutes or a few hours at most, the meaning is there in my head. I also write down the interpretation. It's my belief that dreams and meanings are a gift from a higher power and are meant to help me further along my spiritual path, which leads to the second question you ask. Why do I think the dreams are fewer and farther between? I think it's because of the years have passed since 2009 when the dream started. I have progressed closer to what my end goal is for this lifetime, to value genuine relationships while also having the ability to see the true nature of a relationship. For example, many of my dreams involve houses with rotten foundations or floors that are unstable and dangerous. The meaning in this is that relationships must be built on a firm, solid foundation or they will crumble and fail. Ultimately, my path and goal is to be the best person I can be in this lifetime, and to recognize the value in every human being that I meet, to move forward into whatever path my next lifetime holds, always progressing forward. I have more experiences that I'll write in about later, entities in my house, cleansing a house of evil spirits, and a possible UFO sighting. Thanks y'all again for sharing my dreams and giving me space to share them. Peace and namaste, Jim and Jane."
Man, we just went 2 for 2.
Dude,
that was like an inspirational, I fuck with it.
Dude, yes, I was going to say that. First off, I appreciate you taking the time to kind of answer our questions, because I know every experience we get, we throw out questions.
Yeah.
And I love when people take the time to respond to our questions. And second, everything about this is so solid to me.
Same.
Like the way that your interpretations are personal to you, I fuck with that 100%.
Same.
And the fact like you put it all together toward being
like a
better person.
Like, I loved that response. I almost stopped you because I loved it so much when she was like, I think they're getting few and far between because I'm reaching my potential. I'm reaching where I'm supposed to be. And I'm like I literally wanted to just jump up and just scream like, I fuck with this.
Yes, because that's where I'm at.
Oh,
like,
it's so good.
If you're not consciously trying to be a better person, what the fuck are you doing?
That's right. And there was never mind.
That's where I'm at with that. Like,
yeah,
me and Kyle had a conversation a while ago about people being so
meanies,
so negative in everything that they do. Like, you need to reevaluate your life.
Well,
what kind of shit do you have going on that you have to project all this negativity all the time?
And once you
just reevaluate.
That day you told me that, like that rung so different than like, because a lot of people, like, you know, if somebody talks shit to you or is out of line with you, a lot of people, you know, they basically just have a normal people response. They're like, well, fuck them, you know, they're stupid, you know, we'll DDT them or whatever the case may be. in hindsight, you were like, what all is so wrong in that person's life that they feel it necessary to go that far out of their way to make you have a shitty day?
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Whenever it's not even concrete, I would understand if we're talking in facts or if we're talking in truths and everything else. But whenever it's in these mundane things, these things that are more opinion based or possibility based, and then you feel like you have the 100% knowledge and you're going to attack me. You're going to attack me. You're not going to suggest. You're going to attack. Yeah, I think Steve's right. I think you have a lot of shit going on upstairs and you're just trying to bring everybody else down to where you're at.
9 times out of 10 is shit that doesn't matter.
Right.
Like, just reevaluate.
Yeah, yeah.
Do what Jim is doing.
Yeah, be nice.
Try to be a better person.
It's so much funner to be nice and to laugh all the time instead of being sad.
Not be miserable.
Right. Run yourself over with a lawnmower. Like, who wants to do that?
No, not me.
Same.
I don't like mowing at all. Period. But anyway, thanks for reaching out again, Gemma. Loved it. Excellent positive email.
Oh, dude, fantastic.
Needed those two. Needed the review and the email today.
Those hit
the spot. And if you
that makes me want to go listen to Kid Rock.
Well, we already did that.
I know. I'm gonna do it again.
If Gemma, definitely hit us back with your house cleansing. The evil spirits and the UFO case, we're all about it. We want to talk about it.
For sure.
And again, if anybody else has wants to send in their experiences, rewind back about 5 minutes and you'll figure out how to do it. Yep. So, on to the demons.
All right. Yeah, I really don't know why I went down this road. I'm extremely happy that I did right now.
It's weird that we both were kind of getting into that at the same time.
Yeah, it is really weird.
Without knowing, essentially.
Yeah, because a lot of times, like Steve said, we don't talk about what we're writing about. That way it's just kind of fresh and it's just kind of how we do things. But I had just got done butchering certain aspects of my life, and I decided to pick a new topic to write about. And and so I just, I don't know why, I just went with these demon encounters. I found these books by Conrad Baur, and they're really good books. I picked a couple stories from this one. It's just called Demon Encounters, or Demonic Encounters. Sorry. Demonic Encounters by Conrad Baur. And I picked a couple out of there because I want to promote this guy and his literature and the stories and research that he's able to collect. So we're going to talk about a couple of the cases in his book here, and hopefully it'll entice some of you to go check him out, because the stories that I've picked, and I think there's 4 of 10 or so. Man, they are fucked. So
I'm sold. I'm about to.
Oh, dude, it's good. So the first one here is based around a specific demon that likes to make contact through the Ouija board. And I know a lot of you have heard this being's name, which I am going to go ahead and say in a minute.
Close your ears.
At first, it seems with this said entity, it usually starts out as like this benign, friendly being, right? But no matter what, it always ends up taking the sinister turn. Apparently, which let's not sugarcoat this, in speaking, any demonic name is considered by almost everyone dangerous, right?
We're fucked.
Right, but isn't that like the general consensus? Like even saying,
yeah, you're acknowledging
any of them.
You're acknowledging.
Right, exactly. This particular being is Zozo. So some people believe that this entity could be Pazuzu.
Yeah, that's right.
The demon king of a Mesopotamia lore. The interest in this particular being picked up around 2009 following the account of a man named Darren Evans. Darren claims that when he made this connection through a Ouija board, this being followed him around for many, many years, and that it also took on different forms. It doesn't really get into specifics, at least in this account. I'm sure if you got this guy's book, it might go into what it actually means with different forms. But anyways, back to Darren's story. Apparently back in the 1980s, Darren was going through some hard times. And he decided, which, obviously is a really responsible and logical idea, but he starts he starts researching and looking at the paranormal for answers in the voids in his life, which just seems like I was being sarcastic. It seems like a recipe for disaster, in my opinion. If you're not in the right state of mind, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Like if you're all just negatively driven,
Invulnerable.
yeah, yeah. Like it leaves the door open for some leeches, so to speak.
Yeah. Leeches is a good term.
Yeah. So, one day,
Energy vampires.
there you go. I fuck with it. One day, he was at his girlfriend's house and he finds this Ouija board underneath a crawl space. And at this point, because he was looking into the paranormal for answers, he assumed that this Ouija board was fated to him. And I'm assuming the crawl space must have hit like an unfinished floor, or because it says that he found a little bit of it protruding through the dirt. And then in each corner of the board were 4 glass jars. And inside each of these glass jars, there were fully preserved dead blackbirds. And he didn't really know. He just, I guess, thought it was weird. But later on, he kind of wondered if that was some type of sealing ritual to keep it all contained to the board, and just keep it right there in the crawl space. But the first time Darren ends up using the board, and he doesn't even ask questions. He doesn't do anything with it. He just puts the planchette on the board, and the planchette rapidly starts going from Z to O, Z to O, Z to O, Z to O. So it didn't take long to figure out that this was an entity that wanted to make contact with him. So Darren did what any logical person would do, and he starts to open a conversation with it. When he made contact, it acted like a long-lost friend. During one session, it claimed that it could take him and his girlfriend, Jamie, to paradise. And apparently they had asked, well, where is paradise? And it spelled out hell.
That's not a good sign.
No.
It's funny that you bring up that, like, the encounters with Zozo start off so, like, innocent.
Yeah.
So benign, if you will, because, like, I'm doing research on an episode of a exorcism here in St. Louis, and it talks about the different stages of possession.
Mm-hmm.
And I literally have it written down, which is funny. But it says, where the hell did I put that? It talks about, like, the second stage, which is an infestation. They're normally small and subtle and easy to write off as imagination or other happenings. They keep it this way, keep it on friendly terms in order to become more of a dominating presence. The more open you are to it,
that
by
makes sense.
It not being threatening, the more it can leach itself into your life. And then once
that gives me goosebumps bad.
Once it gets in deep enough, then it starts just fucking shit up.
It gives me goosebumps because, like, it makes me think back to, like, what I was going through there for a little while.
It's because it's so funny, like, that things line up.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Because when you said that, I'm like, man, I almost wrote that word for word from my research.
That is weird.
Anyway,
yeah.
Back to Kyle.
I didn't write this down, but I want to kind of reiterate it because it's kind of interesting, and I'm not. Don't fucking quote me on this shit. But I'm the writer
Be
goes
a better
in,
person, Kyle.
Yeah, the writer goes in on how there actually was a paradise in hell, that it was created there by God or whatever. And that's where the saints were, et cetera, et cetera. And it was a protected place, like the demons and stuff couldn't get to it. So I thought it was a little fun fact. I enjoyed reading that. It was different. I've never heard that before. But anyways, moving on. Not long after, making contact and going through some of this shit, things obviously start to spiral out of control. Jamie, which is Darren's girlfriend, almost had her house broken into, which seems ironic to say the least. But what makes it creepy is that the board had actually warned them that they were being watched through their window. Not to mention, at first, like anyone would have done, they just kind of shrugged this statement off. They're like, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Well, shortly after this, Jamie, his girlfriend, ends up walking into the kitchen and literally sees a blind man staring at her through the window. So they call the police. They make a report. It didn't take long. The police actually ended up catching the guy, and the police officer was talking to Darren and his girlfriend, and they were kind of just bullshitting a little bit, and he was like, yeah, this guy just broke out of a mental institute, and the police officer was explaining and just kind of making chatter at this point, but he kind of chuckles at this next statement because he doesn't understand the gravity of it, but it ends up basically shattering Darren's world. The officer said that they had questioned the mental patient as to why he had left the hospital. And the only thing this guy said back to the police was, the devil made me do it. I mean, talk about irony, right?
That's so...
And I mean, it rattled Darren. Just straight up shook him to his core like, wait a minute. No way. No way. But even with all that,
so terrifying.
it is. Even with all that, though, Darren still continues to have conversations with the entity. One night, after a few drinks, Darren starts to get a little ballsy, and he starts asking questions. One of the more relatable questions is, what should I call me and my friend's metal band?
Hell yeah. I'm doing the Secret Satanist hand signal right now.
Facts. It responds with Iron Tongue. Of course, like anybody, Darren was like, dude, this name is fucking sick. He's basically like, thanks, homie, for hooking me up. Like, I get with this. At this point, Darren was once again convinced that him and Zozo were on good terms. They were straight. Of course, Darren was wrong because shortly after this, his baby girl ends up becoming sick with MRSA, and the baby's tongue ends up swelling up so like it fills its mouth, and it becomes stiff as a board. And then Darren remembers back to the Iron Tongue reference.
That's weird.
Like that would terrify me, because
that is weird.
And Steve, you're no different. I think just about every parent would be like, once things start fucking with your kids, like you have entered a whole new world, a whole new realm. So at this point, Darren was beginning to think this entity wasn't the best thing in his life.
Good call, Darren.
Yeah, that it was more or less causing these things to happen, yet making it appear as though it was warning him of things to come. One of Darren's friends who was around when the board was being used decided to ask the dumbest question you could ever ask any type of fating process.
Dummies.
What do you think that question was, Steve? What's the dumbest fucking question can you ask?
When am I gonna die?
Bingo. He says, how am I going to die?
Close enough.
It tells him in a car wreck. Shortly after, Randy became depressed. He begins using drugs and alcohol to cope with all the shit going wrong in his life. One night, while all doped up, he got into his car, apparently floored it, shot straight down the road, slammed right into a tree, killing him instantly.
Well, how does that make you feel?
Here's another one. It gets worse. Another friend, Michael, was told that he would be murdered. And sure as shit, given it was several years later, Michael was found dead in his apartment due to poisoning. And unfortunately for Michael's case, the case still remains unsolved.
That's fucked up.
Yeah. They were never able to figure out who killed Michael.
Got it.
And I'm sure if there is a full book on this story, I'm sure there are more accounts in it. This is what I got out of it. But nevertheless, still fucking terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. This, you have anything you want to say about that, Steve?
No, I'm just thinking, like, if that's a coincidence, it's a pretty fucked coincidence.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
For sure. This next story that I have it rings a bell for me. I'll see if you end up picking up on it later. But it's called Demon Mirror. Or at least that's what I named it. I'm not sure if that's what it's called in the book. Anyways, it involves this single mother named Allison, and her and her 15-year-old son were basically looking for a fresh start. They wanted to go to a new community, a new home, new everything. They just wanted to get away from the past and start fresh. Once they got to where they were going, they end up looking at this house in this small town, and as soon as they entered the house, the son, James, he could just feel something wasn't right here. Like, Mom, I'm not trying to fuck with this place. I don't want to be here. And I don't blame Allison. She starts to kind of to console him and just reassure him that, listen, it's just moving jitters. It's being in a new community, a new house. There's nothing to worry about. So they started unpacking and began to settle for the day. They both went to their rooms and fell asleep that night. Well, that night, Allison was woken up by the sound of footsteps in the hall, alongside hearing someone whisper. So she starts to freak out, thinking that someone had broken into her house. So she gets up and she goes over to the doorway, and I totally can relate to what she's doing right now, because obviously your first reaction is going to be to get to your child, but at the same time, because she gets over to her door, she opens the door, looks into the hallway where she hears the noises, and there's nothing there. So she's staring into a pitch black hallway, and she ends up just kind of quieting down, kind of shutting off everything, and she's staring into the darkness, being as quiet as she can, and just basically focusing all of her hearing to try to hear the faintest sound, which I can totally relate with. She sees the hallway doorknob start moving, which goes into a closet, and then all of a sudden it starts opening and closing repeatedly. So she turns the light on just like everybody would do, and this works. The light comes on, nothing else happens. There's no person standing there. There's no more movement, just a closet with a few unpacked boxes inside. Of course, she plays it off. And, I was tired. I was probably seeing things. It's whatever. It's another logical response, and it's definitely something that I would do. So, go ahead.
Back to this. Back to
the story you're working on?
Yep, back to the story I'm looking into. It says, I wrote this down. Infestations are normally small and subtle, easy to write off as imaginations or other odd happenings, the same way we regard bumps in the nights to a house settling or shadows in the corner as a trick of light in our eyes.
I mean, I can fuck with it.
Yeah, it's exactly what she's doing.
All right, so the next night, things get out of hand again. This time, she wakes up with something standing in her room. And for whatever reason, she knew it wasn't an intruder. It was a humanoid figure, 2 arms, 2 legs, a head. It was pure black. It was darker than the darkness in her room, which we've heard countless times when it comes to shadow people and stuff like that. And she says that she clearly feels that this is pure evil. Whatever this is, it's pure evil. As soon as this thing realizes she's looking at it, it shoots out of the room insanely fast. But as it passes the mirror in her room, the mirror shatters and explodes all over the place. Once again, she turns on every light. She heads down to her son's room to check on him. Thankfully, everything's okay. He's sound asleep. So Allison sits on the couch all night long, contemplating on what to do. Once the sun breaks, she picks up the phone, goes through the book, and contacts a medium. She explained everything that was going on in the house, and the medium seemed to take it very seriously. The medium suggested that the evil entity had entered her home through the mirror. Unfortunately, it had also destroyed that bridge as well. which meant this entity wanted to stay. But the medium promised to show up as soon as possible to help with the situation.
I didn't think about that.
What?
Destroying the mirror.
Yeah, like as a bridge.
Yeah.
What else? Talked about mirrors.
I'm about to take all the mirrors out of my house.
Oh, remember Eagers talked about mirrors.
Yeah. Distrust of mirrors.
Yeah. So, and that was the first thing that fucking popped off in my head. But because in a lot of lore, there's a lot of lore that mirrors are gateways. It's funny with the Fae and stuff like that.
It's funny that everybody's terrified of Ouija boards and doesn't want to fuck with Ouija boards, but every single day of your life ever,
you look at a mirror.
You look in a mirror,
right?
There's that meme that goes around, like if you have a television in your bedroom and when it's shut off, it's essentially just a mirror.
Yeah, and I think there's also lore around the television screen, the old television screens, because I don't know that many of the new ones do that though. Do they?
Do what?
Have that reflection?
Not like they used to.
Yeah, not like they used to.
A little bit.
But there's also something to do with like
I used to talk to the demon that lived in our old television when I was little, so. Used to have my mom all fucked up.
Isn't there something to do with Black Mirrors too? Not the TV show, but
like when actually Black Mirrors. When a television shut off, essentially creates a Black Mirror.
Yes.
I'll Google it while you're going on.
Anyways, help. The medium promises to show up and help, but help couldn't come fast enough because that night it gets worse. Allison was sitting on the couch watching some late night TV, and all of a sudden she begins to feel this weight on top of her, and it gets heavier and heavier. And right before she feels like she's basically about to be suffocated, the force lets up. The next day, the medium shows up after scouting the house, and she said she was able to make contact with this said entity. This entity admitted that it was a demon and that it had just crossed over from hell itself. The medium then did a blessing ceremony, and she did a blessing ceremony on the home and told Allison to remove all of the mirrors from the house. And Allison did that. She did everything the medium had asked of her. But Allison did something else that if I wasn't so lazy, I would give her a standing ovation right now. Because you know what Allison did? She fucking moved.
She said, I'm out.
She left.
Had a girl.
Right? How many stories?
No, I'm good.
How many stories do we hear where they stay? They're like, you know what? I did it all. It's gone now. It's gone now. And they stay. No, Allison's like, you know what? Fuck this house. Fuck this town. I'm leaving.
She just bounced.
Yeah.
I love it.
Her and her son packed all their shit up and got out that day.
I love it.
Oh, man. I am so proud of you. That's so fucking proud of you.
Alpha move. I'm
telling you, dude. I am telling you. Absolutely smartest thing you could do. She just rolled the fuck out. Moving on here to the next story. This one just caught my attention because it's off the wall. I know I've subtly heard this before, and it's always in these fun chatter corners of the conspiracy world. But this story is actually supposedly about Beyonce and how Beyonce openly admits that she has an inner demon, and it's called Sasha Fierce. So in 2018, which is pretty recent, Beyonce's former drummer, Kimberly Thompson, files a lawsuit against Beyonce. And in this lawsuit, she claims Beyonce cursed her and used black magic, among other, and that was one of the many things that was in the lawsuit.
I remember reading this.
Kimberly claims that she had loss of jobs, theft of homes, murder of pets, magic spells on lovers, and numerous broken relationships because of Beyonce and her demonic ways. Kimberly even had a real fear of Beyonce. She ended up getting a restraining order against her. Then you have the madness of Beyonce and Jay-Z together. There's all this talk that Jay-Z is in the Illuminati, which this kind of all originated in the 90s, which he claims it's just something he made up. Even though now, to this day, Beyonce will throw up the same sign. What I find interesting in this book is that it points out one of Beyonce's songs. It's called Formation. And she calls out the Illuminati shit by saying it's corny. Which, like, it initially makes me feel kind of sussy. Like, you are so...
The fact that she's even acknowledging it.
Yeah, like, because everybody clapped at her for it, about being in the Illuminati and throwing up the signs and this, that, and the other, that she makes a statement about it. Like, you're literally one of the biggest artists on the planet.
Yeah, you don't even have to speak on it.
No, not at all. I don't know. Anyways, it's whatever. With that argument in mind, though, she has yet to deny this quote-unquote personal demon that shares the stage with her. She literally calls it Sasha Fierce. So you're going to snub out any claims of the Illuminati, yet you'll openly talk about your personal demon, Sasha. Apparently, she created this alter ego to help with stage fright. And now, I understand that people are different. We operate differently. We have different outlooks on life, the whole nine, right? But what's funny is that me and Steve, not to that grand scale, but we've dealt with stage fright, right?
Yeah.
Easy, because we used to be in a band. We played in, maybe a couple hundred people at the fucking most. And it is a real thing. Stage fright is 100% a real thing. But for me and Steve, all of that went away when the first note dropped. Like, it was all gone. Everything, like, we were right where we were fucking supposed to be.
It is kind of weird, though, because, like, the way she describes as having this alter ego, it almost is like we flipped a switch when we were up there.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
That is true. That is true. But I never, like, I would never equate it to, like, having this all. Well, I mean, I guess you kind of do have an alter ego.
No, but we never put it in the context that she's putting it.
Right. Correct.
But look, in theory, it is. I mean,
I wouldn't call it possession.
No.
Not for us, anyways.
No.
And I definitely wouldn't have said. Well, back then we probably would have said that. However, to be 100, like, not putting on an act, but no, I never would have been like, yeah, it was a demon engulfs me while I play.
Yeah, I agree, but it is like the way she describes it. It does kind of strike a chord. Like whenever we were up
you're
there,
right.
We were different people.
Well, we played, 100%. 100%.
Which is, and the way she's describing it, it's almost like she's creating, like it's the beginning steps of creating a tulpa. How she's like manifesting this.
Well, hold that thought, because it does expand, and it's not tulpa. And this is obviously supposed reports, et cetera, et cetera. You got to kind of roll with it here. But anyways, Beyonce makes a similar statement in a way. She says in a 2008 interview for Mary Claire, Beyonce shares that she has an out-of-body experience. She's fearless and doesn't feel her face or body, which is very weird. Because I don't understand it whenever, because she does a lot of movement as she's performing, I assume, like dancing and this, that, and the other. And I feel like it'd be really fucking hard.
It is
not. It'd be like, because I've been to that point in drinking where you start to lose all cognitive ability. You can't move and this, that, and the other. I don't like it at all, and I definitely can't function. And then I've also had adrenaline dumps where your adrenaline dumps so hard. Your legs and stuff start to feel noodly, and then you feel like you can't run, like because your legs are all just flabby feeling. So and that could just be a fucking description, right? That could just be something she attributes to the rush that you get, because it is a different feeling when you're performing like that in front of people. It's crazy. She says that this Sasha completely takes control during these performances, and according to this book that I'm reading, there's a pastor, Rayford L. Johnson, and he says that he has exorcised many demons in this career, and on more than one occasion, when asking the demon's name, he gets Sasha Fierce in return.
That's weird.
That's weird.
That is weird.
You know, because you make a good point, and it's a point that I didn't think about when reading it, you know, because I was trying to justify our stage fright going away.
Yeah.
When that first note dropped, but you spun it in a different direction of like, you know what? Yeah, you do kind of create a persona in a lot of cases, right?
Yeah.
It is a whole different feeling up there. It really is.
I mean, you could almost interpret it as something else taking over.
Yeah, if you really wanted to stretch it, okay, cool. I get okay.
Yeah.
Right.
I could see how it could be interpreted in that way, especially if you have a person where she openly admits to just letting herself being taken over.
Right. Yeah.
If you're opening yourself up to that gives, whether or not it's your alter ego or whatever, you're kind of just letting whoever wants to come in.
And like also point out, like, when Beyonce says something like that, especially if she does legitimately use the word demon, that's fucking weird because it doesn't fit her genre at all. Now, if someone like Marilyn Manson or some of the crazy metal bands were to make that comment, I'd be like, okay, that makes sense. Like, this is your character that you've built for like when you play. Like, not that I would believe it any more or less. It's just that it would make sense, right? That someone in that nature would say that. But when Beyonce says it, it's just kind of like, okay, this is a little weird. This is weird. Just, I don't know. I thought it was an interesting one. It's not one that I've really heard much about.
Dive into it.
It sounds crazy, dude.
Sasha Fierce. It's such a strange.
It is weird
Name.
But
now I'm like digging through anagrams of Sasha Fierce, trying to see what words they make up, and
it's probably not good.
No.
But so that's essentially where I was going to end this story until I went to the table of contents and I read through the chapters in the book, and I found one that stuck out to me because of who me and Steve are. And I'm like, you know what? I've got to at least read this one. I've got to read it. Because me and Steve could easily sit here for another 13 minutes and bullshit about the stories and everything else is easy peasy. But I saw the title of this story and I'm like, I've got to read this. And I end up reading it and I'm like, yep, fucking writing about it. And it made me really, really excited about this episode because if any of you have been around, which isn't very long, but long enough to listen to our episodes we did on the Chris Bledsoe case, I feel like it directly ties into this here. If you're in the same wavelength as me and Steve, and at the very least, just hear me out because it is. Aside from that, it is it's an incredible story, but it involves a Kelly Cahill. She was a born-again Pentecostal Christian who, without question, believes that God is 100% in control of her life. But the things that took place on August 8th, 1993, fucking put her faith to the test. So that day, Kelly and her husband were driving on a desolate road headed for a birthday party. As they were driving, Kelly looks out the window and sees this orange ring of lights in the middle of a field. After passing it, Kelly tells her husband, because she was the only one that's seen it on the way to the birthday party, and she didn't think much of it at the time, but she gets to thinking about it more on the way there. They get to the birthday party, and she tells her husband and the friends about it, and they all start poking fun of her. making fun of her, giving her a hard time. So she just kind of shuts down, reels it in, and doesn't want anything to do with it anymore. She's, whatever, I'm done. After the party, they get in, Kelly and her husband Andrew get into the car and head back on that same road. And all of a sudden, they come up to a roadblock. Only it wasn't a normal roadblock. There was an object hovering above the road, all lit up with observation windows facing the vehicle. Because at this point, Andrew has stopped, and he ends up swallowing his pride, and he's like, oh my God, you're right. You weren't lying about that.
I stand corrected.
Yeah. So Kelly all of a sudden thinks she sees movement in these observation windows. And no sooner did she speak those words, this craft takes off, just shoots out of sight. So they sit there, they collect their thoughts for a little bit, and start to head home. A few minutes later, the craft returns. Now it seems like it's bearing right at him. It's just coming right at him. Kelly turns to Andrew and is like, what are you going to do? And he's like, I'm just going to fucking keep driving. I'm out. The next thing Kelly remembers is sitting in the car with Andrew on the roadside hours later. They have classic missing time. Kelly asked Andrew what happened, and his response, which gives me fucking chills to the core, is literally something I would come up with. It's just so mundane. So once again, picture this in your head. They are sitting past a turn on the side of the road in the car together. Kelly's like, what happened? And he goes, I don't know. We must have gone too fast around the corner or something. And it's hours later from when this originally happened.
Just trying to write it off.
That's it.
Just go back to bed. Just go back to bed.
Yep. And Andrew seems extremely content with leaving it at this point. Like he's like, no. Like, we're good. This is it.
Just like, shh.
But for whatever reason, even though she couldn't remember, Kelly knows, she could feel that something was off. Something was wrong. So they begin to drive, they get back onto the road, start driving home again. And Kelly witnesses a tall, dark figure on the side of the road. At this point, Kelly tries to convince herself that what she saw was nothing more than a person out for, because at this point it's like right before the sun starts to come up. It's still dark, but it's getting ready to be sunrise. Kelly just is like, maybe somebody was out for an early morning walk, yada, yada, yada. But deep down, she knew that she was just justifying, like just trying to write it off. And she was right, because there was something more to all of this. And out of nowhere, her memories start to break this barrier that's holding it in, and they all come rushing forward. After they had turned that corner, they saw the craft had landed this time. It was out in the middle of a field, to which Andrew pulls the car over, and they begin to walk over and investigate the craft. And it even states that it was almost like they were unknowingly being persuaded to come do this, because they both knew we should not be doing this, but for whatever reason they're doing it.
Like they were hypnotized.
Almost.
I've kind of started fiddling with accounts where like alien abductees are essentially hypnotized into doing shit that they wouldn't normally do.
I could
in these scenarios.
I could fuck with that.
Yeah.
I really can. But at this point in the story, Kelly notices, this is what makes it even more bizarre. So they're walking over to the UFO to check this thing out.
First mistake.
Kelly notices another car had pulled over behind them, And the entire carload of people were also getting out to look at the UFO. So now you've got more than just Kelly and Andrew.
That's weird.
Right? So Kelly turns back to the craft and then notices this roughly 7-foot tall figure standing in the distance. But she knew that this thing wasn't human. She also knew that it scared the living shit out of her. But for some reason, she felt compelled to try to make contact with it. And she ends up, which is... It's so fucking bizarre that she feels compelled to make contact with it, but at the same time, she doesn't try to speak with it. She tries to channel all of her thoughts to this thing. And as she's doing this, it turns around and faces her. And,
Kelly, stop.
Right. It turns around and faces her. It has glowing red eyes. And this thing begins to walk towards her and Andrew. She turns to her husband and screams, "They have no souls." But as soon as she said this, dozens of these motherfuckers start swarming her and Andrew. They start coming at them from every single direction.
Nope.
And this is where it also gets fucking weird. The whole story is weird, but here's another oddity. So you have this large group of dark entities moving towards Kelly and Andrew. And then right before they were all going to converge, one of these groups break off and start heading toward the other carload of people. And Kelly ends up screaming at them, saying they're evil and they're going to kill us all. Right after this, she was hit super hard. It knocks her down and it almost knocks her unconscious. She said she had to basically fight to stay awake at this point. My guy Andrew, he's trying to fight these things off. He's scared as fuck because she's like, you can hear it in his voice. But he's screaming at him, struggling with him, saying, "Let me go." And it responds to him with, "We don't mean you any harm."
Nice lie.
And so Andrew calls him on it. He's like, "Well, then why did you hit Kelly?" It responds with just pure ickiness. Because at this point, I'm reading the story, right? I have no idea where this is going. I'm just completely enthralled in the story.
I just read it.
And
I shouldn't have read it.
It says, "I wouldn't harm her. She's my daughter." And then I take this next part directly from the book because it hits good, right? And I don't want to put it in my own words. I want to use this because it hits so good. The being, and this is from Kelly, the being had somehow sensed the prayers that she had been silently uttering, invoking the name of God the Father. And by saying that she was its daughter, it was attempting to mock her.
Did I tell you all?
How fucked up is that?
Have I not been saying this?
How fucked is that?
Since the Bledsoe case?
Oh, it gives me goosebumps.
Mic drop.
Dude, this is why I said I was so excited, because it literally is almost, figuratively speaking, almost word for word what we talked about. How ironic. How ironic.
That's where I stand on it.
Dude, I'm with you. I'm with you.
Fight me. If you think these things are good, fight me.
Soon we'll have 2 belts.
I will defend the belt forever, dying on the hill that these things are not good beings. These things are not light beings. These things are not love and happiness and all this other fucking bullshit.
No, I would argue that some of them probably are.
No, fuck them too.
Okay, we'll fight them too. But, so with that being said, at this point, her and Andrew get split up. And she begins to feel super nauseous, and she loses consciousness for a minute. This being that had spoken to her earlier could now be heard saying, "We are peaceful people." Kelly, I give her fucking mad props because she's steadfast in her beliefs. She does not give a shit what these things tell her. And she begins to yell at everyone, because I'm assuming that when they say everyone, the other carload got taken as well. So all of them are in this craft. And she yells at everyone, don't believe them, they're going to steal our souls. At this point, one of the entities said, would somebody do something with her?
They're just
basically shut the fuck up. So one of these beings ends up putting its hand on her shoulder, and she was overcome with disgust, because she's in her head, she's like, this being has no fucking right to touch me. I'm in God's care, and that whatever these things are, they have no rights with me, period, the end. And almost, and Kelly, I'm telling you right now, Kelly's a fucking badass, because almost as if by saying this to herself, she whether it is God or whatever entity, or maybe just herself, empowering herself, she once again starts fighting back. How dare you? How dare you put terror in the hearts of these innocent people? Get out of here. You hear me? In the name of God, get out of here and go back to where you came from. And at this moment, Kelly notices that Andrew is being led away by another being. So she gets the fuck up, runs over, and tackles this motherfucker. Tackles him.
I love it.
Now,
if we ever need a trios partner for the titles,
I'm calling Kelly.
We got
I'm calling Kelly. She don't give a fuck, dude. Now, it doesn't go into detail, but it makes me wonder, because it says after she tackles this thing, she blacks out. There could be a lot of reasons why she could have blacked out. 'Cause she did take a nasty hit earlier, so she could have been fighting, unconsciousness the whole time. Or how many times have we heard that they do have the ability just to basically put your ass under?
Oh yeah.
So it's kind of hit and miss, but
like the Pascagoula incident, like he called it what did he call it? The shot that they gave.
Yeah.
Just fucking.
But after this, later on she comes to, and it's almost like this fucked. It's almost like these things were still trying to convince her. They still are trying to sell her on them being good, et cetera, et cetera. Because when she comes to, I'm assuming I don't know how they do it, but imagine they create a world around you. They are making you see things that aren't real. And they're making her see, and they fuck up. They fuck up because she sees one of them laying face down on the ground. And all of a sudden, it morphs into a human.
That's terrifying.
And all of a sudden, a middle-aged woman begins to point at Kelly and scream, "Murderess. You murderess." And something that I don't remember if it was the author or if it was Kelly herself, but it strikes one of them, because nobody in today's lingo would use murderess. That they had lingo from back in the day.
Yeah.
But anyways,
I've heard that in other cases too.
That they use old school lingo versus new.
Yep. Weird, like old, like I know murderous isn't that old, but there are accounts of people who are interacting with these beings, and they'll be like old English, type of talking and shit like that.
But the next thing she knows is she's in a small room, and this being is telling her, "You didn't kill anybody. We had to try to use your own sense of morality to help you overcome your fear," which just seems fucked. Then
so weird.
This is even weirder, right? So take a sec when I read this next part, take a second to let it kind of absorb.
That's the second abduction case. There was one that I was looking into for a future episode. I know I keep talking about future episodes, blah blah blah, but it's the second abduction case where they basically did a fear check. Like they tested people.
That's weird.
For their fears.
I think I subtly remember you talking to me about this. Now that you say that.
Also, it also has to do with the whole hypnosis thing.
Right.
Fuck, I gotta write that episode now.
So, like I said, let this next part kind of absorb a little bit. Because I don't think the author smacks on this too much. But I'm going to. After they go through the fear part, this being hands over Kelly's Bible, which had in fact disappeared from her home prior to this encounter. Then it gives it to her and more or less says, you know, let's deal. You can come with me, but you'll have to leave your Bible behind. Now, why? I understand the implications if you looked at it through the lens of this alien, or whatever, we'll just call it alien for lack of a better description. If you look at it through the lens of it being a demon, I understand this aspect of it, especially this whole deal section, yada, yada, yada. You know, of course, Kelly views this as a massive fucking red flag because of her, not only because of her background, but her steadfast faith, etc., etc., etc. This is a huge red flag. To be given an ultimatum like, yo, you can come with me forever. I don't know they specifically said forever, but you can come with me. You just have to leave this Bible behind. But the thing that stands out to me the most is that her Bible had gone missing.
That's exactly
prior.
What I was thinking.
And like I said, the author didn't smack on this too much. And I understand it's not his responsibility to do that. He's kind of reiterating a story here, but we have a little bit easier of a platform to do this. I mean, look at those implications. That is...
It ties... I mean, I know people hate when I tie everything together, like all sorts of... all the aspects of the paranormal together. But you hear so many times in poltergeist activity and shit where things come up missing.
Yeah. And this is not the first time you've had this conversation in the past, like, week.
No. It is just further fuel to the fire that all of this is tied to one singular larger phenomenon.
It probably is. Like, the more we dive down into it, the more I'm kind of starting to fuck with that idea.
UFOs.
I'm not saying that demons and aliens are the same thing, but I am starting to fuck with the idea that there's something, like you said, kind of connecting the dots among everything.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, and I'm not claiming to know what it is, but I feel like there's one singular phenomenon at the center of all this weirdness. Whether it be some government psyops, whether it be some intergalactic fucking psyops, interdimensional psyops, but it's tying all this together because it's not the first account we've heard of say a town with tons of UFO activity, then all of a sudden it starts to morph into poltergeist activities where people get all kinds of weird fucked up energy in their houses. And
it happened in Stardust.
Yeah.
He specifically talks about things moving shit on him.
And it's happening more and more. You're hearing more and more accounts of it, like, oh, well, we saw these lights in the sky, and then all of a sudden it's almost like whatever is behind this is trying to blur the lines of all this paranormal phenomenon where you can't pinpoint it anymore.
Yeah.
Look at Sir No Face.
Yeah.
That whole documentary started out as a ghost documentary.
Yeah.
And then it bleeds into every single realm you could possibly even think about.
Yeah. No, that's
like
facts.
It goes from a ghost documentary to an alien documentary to fucking
conspiracy, cover up, Men in
out
Black,
of this world.
All that shit.
And it makes is that being done purposefully?
Could be. Absolutely could be.
Is it the world government's trying to keep people from pinpointing this thing down?
Right.
Just keep the smoke rolling where you can't figure out what the fuck is going on because
yeah. And to be honest, man, like, and it's a different offshoot of what you're saying here, but another aspect of this could be is if this is a all-knowing, omnipotent being, you have to assume that their intelligence is far beyond where we're at. They have the capacity of so much more than we do right now. And I wonder if these things don't know how to really kind of fucking break us down. Because that Bible is going to be one of Kelly's most prized possessions, right? You know what I mean?
If she is big into her faith,
it's a huge
hell
thing,
yeah.
Right?
That probably wasn't the terms I should use.
But it's a huge thing for her. It's going to be a big one. And what if there was some type of psychic? Because they've already tried doing psychic shit by making her see shit, et cetera, et cetera. What if there was some type of
it's like
obedience, like if you're willing to leave, like almost like if you're willing to leave this behind, I know I have you shattered and you're in the palm of my hand type situation.
Oh, yeah.
I just feel like there's a lot of different avenues.
Let's just get the elephant in the room here taken care of. Let's tie it to let's put it in perspective of the Bledsoe's encounter.
Yeah.
If when that thing in Kelly's encounter said, I wouldn't harm her, she's my daughter. If she took that in a positive notion where she didn't question this thing, didn't question that it was reading her prayers and everything, and she took it as, okay, I feel safe now, this would be a second Bledsoe case.
Oh, shit. And on top of that, if you play that angle right now, by her leaving that Bible at home or wherever,
turns her,
it almost makes that thing, quote unquote, God.
Yeah. Yeah. And her,
I am God.
And now she's got no defenses against it.
Right. Yeah.
Because
100%.
she's accepted.
She's submitted to it.
Yeah. She has accepted that it is light, it is love, it is essentially the
dude,
creator.
That's fucked. Yeah.
And if you rewind it to all the shit that was happening with us, when we were questioning that encounter,
oh yeah, we got fucked with.
It played into our vulnerabilities,
100%.
which is what it is doing
goosebumps.
to Kelly by pulling into her religious faith, which is what it did to Chris Bledsoe.
Yeah.
But he bought it as, this is all good. This is all good. Nothing that's going on is bad. This is all going to be a positive thing. Where Kelly's like, this is fucked. I'm not buying into this.
Right. And just to clarify, I hope in Mr. Bledsoe's case, I hope we're wrong, and I hope it is a pure fucking light energy. I hope. However, I might feel a different way, and I definitely, with this case, I'm with Kelly. Fuck that thing. Obviously, Kelly basically tells it to get bent, and the next thing she remembers is her and Andrew sitting on the side of the road. And believe it or not, her Bible ends up in the glove box of the car.
I'd have a thing tested.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I'd have it CSI'd.
And apparently,
kind of weird shit that's all over.
Apparently, everybody there, including the other carload, can verify aspects of this story.
Good.
So it's not just because let's be real. If you read the whole story and then you read that last part that I just said about Kelly finding her missing book in the car, you could totally blame this on a dream. You could totally blame it on maybe she was drinking. Maybe they were smoking drugs. Whatever the case may be. But the fact of the matter is, not only can Kelly and Andrew they can't, and obviously everybody can't verify everybody's story because they, according to this, they were taken to different locations essentially, and they all had different experiences. But the fact of the matter is that together as a whole, they create the story. I mean, it's you have to think, if by what they said is true and it was a full carload of people, that's at least 6 people involved.
Oh yeah.
at least 6 people involved.
And if they can each corroborate a different part, there's where there's smoke, there's fire.
Fuck yeah.
So
I don't know. I just thought, like, when I read that, I was blown away. I was like, holy shit.
The same thing happened in, was it the Hudson Valley? There was this huge rash of UFO sightings popping off, just recently, probably within the last 10 years. And then all of a sudden, all this poltergeist activity started popping off. People's houses started having shit moved around, hearing banging on the doors at night and banging on the walls and scratching in the walls, shit getting moved around, things disappearing. And then this woman started hearing disembodied voices in her basement. And when she went down there, she said right as she went down, there was essentially a portal in her basement, and she saw 2 humans. She said they were humans. They had some sort of official, like, uniform on, but she couldn't recognize what uniform it was. As soon as they saw her notice them, they stepped through the portal and it closed.
I would have shot a rocket launcher at them.
Well, clearly she didn't have the tag team title belts, or they would have to fight.
They would have to fight on the spot.
Yeah.
Automatic challenge.
It's so weird. I did look up the whole black mirrors thing. Obsidian or black mirrors were used ritually to spiritually access the Aztec underworld and communicate with the realm of the dead. The name of the important Aztec deity, Tezcatlipoca, I might be saying that wrong, but whatever, means smoking mirror, and he was apparently the supernatural embodiment of polished obsidian mirrors. Tezcatlipoca was the god of obsidian and sorcery, and the mirrors were also used by Aztecs priests to conjure visions and make prophecies.
Yeah, so there's some old school lore around it.
Oh yeah, I mean
I wasn't just making shit up. Did my research.
Communicate with the dead. And the underworld, which, I mean, the underworld kind of sounds like hell.
Right.
Man. Dude, I'm telling you, I don't know.
I would like to find more stories like this.
If all the phenomena, we need to sit down and record our take on Sir No Face, because I feel like that's tied into this.
Yeah. Oh yeah. 100%. I would like to try to reach out to him and like you were saying, reach out to him and try to talk to him.
Yeah. I mean, if he's still fucking with all this, I'm sure that he would, because that is just, I feel like it's tied in that, like, there is something, either this phenomenon is all part of one central phenomenon, or something wants us to think
that's scarier.
That it is.
That's so much scarier.
They want the water muddied so much that we cannot break apart and pinpoint what individually each of these phenomena.
That's scarier than it being anything else. The fact that something out there is smart enough to try to play us.
Yeah,
that's terrifying. And then not to mention not only play us, but just have the ability to manipulate everything.
And the fact that it is smart enough to, like, know your vulnerabilities and what you're most afraid of, and then it pinpoints that.
And like you said, it's exactly what happened to us.
Yeah, it's exactly what happened to Chris Bledsoe.
It went after our kids, and then it went after my wife.
Yeah. And Bledsoe, same thing happened.
Yeah.
Same thing happened when, I mean, it essentially separated him from his kids.
Yeah.
And then it went after his faith.
Yep.
Here,
it even went after his kid.
Yeah, went after his kid. Here, separated Kelly from her husband.
Yep.
And went after her faith. Boom, 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 boom.
And Kelly fucking rose to the occasion on that. She didn't give a shit. Which hats off. That, I mean, the balls on you, girl, to get up and try to fucking spear a 7-foot tall, red-eyed, jet black being.
Basically, Big Daddy Cool Kevin Nash.
Dude.
If he was a demonic entity. Which he might be.
Dude. Like,
and I'm not, and then I want to be clear here. I'm not going after Chris Bledsoe for his encounter.
No.
Because I wasn't there. I didn't experience it. I'm just interpreting.
Oh, yeah, same thing.
It how I see it.
Yeah.
Because
that's only fair.
If I'm attacking anything, I'm attacking the beings because I don't feel like they are what he wants them to be.
Right.
So,
No, and like I said earlier, I hope that we're wrong. I do.
I hope that we are, but I know we're not. I'm just throwing that the fuck out there. Anything that is all light, all knowing, all loving, all everything does not have to sit there and convince you that they are.
Right.
Period.
Right.
The end.
That's kind of how I feel. I don't know. I just thought it was a really outstanding story.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that I stumbled on it.
That was solid.
Bro, I told you it was
That was
fucking,
solid.
it was crazy. Like, it made my research that night. I was just like, holy shit.
I dig that.
So good. So good. So please, if you're interested in these kind of stories, pick up this guy's book. What I say his name was? Conrad Baur. I found it on Amazon. His book was ridiculously cheap. It was like $4. But I did get the digital version. That's probably why. Regardless, though, cool stories. Really well written. I really enjoyed it. So I hope some of you go check him out.
Yeah, definitely pick it up. If those little tidbits were interesting to you,
Yeah.
pick them up.
There's some other crazy stories in there. I've got another book of his that I will probably do in the future. But yeah. Like I said, cool fucking stories. I would really like to find more of stories like I just did, because they're fascinating.
Yeah, that was intense. I got wild at the end.
Dude, it was awesome.
So,
Absolutely awesome.
thanks for hanging out with us on this wonderful Monday. And check us out at all our socials. You know the drill. Until next time, stay safe, stay weird, and if the beings you're encountering are trying to convince you that they're good, they're not really that good.